Aloha, kiddos. We're going to do a little help on our Star Wars Episode Pi here project. I've got it open on my OneNote for Windows 10 right here. That's like working on a sheet of paper. You can submit it like that, just like you submit a journal or your warm-ups. I wasn't aware you could do that when I first set up the assignment because that option disappeared from my screen. I didn't see it until later. You can also do it through Kami, which I will look at the end. Open this with Kami. I'm going to have to erase a few things that are on here. You'll have to log in. I think either one works. For me, it does. I can't speak for you. And then it brings it up there. Notice things are left in there that you've done before. You can get rid of them. Let's see if I have other stuff on here. No, it looks pretty blank. I'm going to come back to this one at the end because I can write a little quicker. I want to get through that. Printing this up or have it opening on 2 pages may help a little bit so you can look at numbers and things without having to flap around pages. For instance, the first thing we have to do is graph these points for number 1. And when you go to the graph, you can't see those points. Now, I am not going to use the real points. These are not the real points. This is not what yours should look like. I'm just doing this as an example. Okay, so go out there and, again, make sure you're using colors on this so that they stand out. And then plot your points. There's A. There's B. There's C. There's D. Make sure you label your points. Connect the segments. Maybe that point wasn't big enough. And then I think I said label it S. So that's the first thing you're supposed to do. Again, those aren't the correct points. That's not what yours should look like. I'm not doing your work here. I'm just showing you how to do it. So that's the first thing you got to do is go and plot that. Okay, so we did the graph. We labeled all our vertices A, B, C, and D, and we labeled the building S in the center of it. So Agent Stu retrieved a portion of the image. This didn't print out very well. That should have been on the same line, A prime D prime equals 3. We've placed this origin at the center of the grid, at the center of dilation. That's standard. AD, get this from the graph. It says it right there, so you have to graph it. Just go down there, and you're just going to count this out. You could use your distance formula, but you can just count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got. Okay, so that comes in as 7. Now you need to get your scale factor, K. That's image over pre-image. Well, remember, the A prime D prime is our image, so that's 3. The pre-image is just the AD, so that's 7. And I don't know why I didn't make this box bigger, but 3/7 go there. If you can reduce that, reduce that. This one should be unreduced. This one should be reduced if you can reduce them. I think that does reduce in there. Okay, now that gives you your scale factor. Now that just comes down here, and again, I should have made these parentheses a little wider. I got to go back and do that in the original. But this is going to be 3/7 A, 3/7 B. Again, put your stuff in color in here so it stands out and is easier to read. This gold isn't the best color. I can switch this around to something else. And then you put your rules in here. Now, these ones don't work out well with these numbers, but this would be like, what would it be? 27 over 7 and -9 over 7. If I put those in there, I just did 3/7 times 9. And 3/7 times -3. That's where I got those numbers. and then fill those out. Now remember, these numbers become the starting point on the next page. So 27 over 7, negative 9 over 7. And you do that for all of these here. And then you repeat it. Get the rule. 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise rotation. Write your rule in. Get your new point. These will come down here. So again, I'm not going to put a rule in here, but look those up. I think the rotations are 4.3 in your book, I believe. Yeah, just check that. Rotations are 4.3. You can look that up in the journal. You can look that up, get that in there, whatever it happens to be. Opposite of B, opposite of A. Again, I'm just making this rule up. That's not a correct rule. Get it? Okay, opposite of B, that would be 9/7. Opposite of A, that'd be negative 27 over 7. Then I'd have to bring those down here. 9 over 7, negative 27 over 7. And then I've got to come up with my rule for this one. You know, x plus 12, y minus 14, or whatever the numbers happen to be. Put them in there. That doesn't add well with this one. You've got your north, south, east, west over here to help you with that. Make sure you get the west is with your x, the north is with your y. And then you have a reflection. Again, this is section 4.2. Look up the rule. Now, this part over here is lengths. These ones you can just get from your graph. So you'll just go to your graphs and look at it, and you'll count them out. I think you end up with something more like this on the graph. And so you can count out this length, you can count out this length, you can count out this length. This length right here, the BC, that diagonal, you've got to use your distance formula on. Oops, let's go back up here. So that's what the work is down here. You're going to show your x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and simplify that. You can leave that. I didn't ask for anything specific. You can leave it as square root or a decimal. Let's round it to hundredths. Let's say that'll be fairly accurate. So you get those. You got to, so BC you've got to do, B quadruple prime, C quadruple prime you do down here with the square roots. Okay, these other ones you'll count out. You'll get distances in there. What did I have? 3/7 before? Okay, so this would be something like 21. And this would be 9. And then so you set that up. And I'm just thinking of some numbers. This would be 28. This would be 12. So you go and you put these in. Again, image are our primes, so that's going to be your quadruple primes. And that's going to be 9. And then the corresponding pre-image is the 21. This is the quadruple prime. This is the regular. I can reduce that. 3/7. This should be the same as your K. I put the other one up. 12 over 28. Divide by 4. Again, that comes to 3/7. You can see those match. All those should come out the same. The fractions or the square roots might not come out exactly the way you want them to. But put them in here, divide them out. There's some fancier stuff to do that I can't think of right offhand. Let me see. Okay, I put some square root numbers in here. And to get fancy down here, so this would be square root of 90 over square root of 490. You can take to your calculator, divide those out, which I'm doing right now. and you might see it comes out to 3/7 if your calculator reduces fractions. You might also see it coming out as 0.429. That's because it did it as a decimal, but it should come out like that. Just to show this over here, square root of 90 over square root of 490. You can think of that as one big thing because you can reduce those. I can reduce. That's square root of 9 over square root of 49, which is 3/7. And then this last one should match up too. I'm not going to put that in there. And that takes us through the end of that. Now Kami, let's take a look at doing some of this on Kami. I'm going to come down here to the graphing. I mean, you can do drawing and use your cursor to make things. Okay, you can change the thickness of things depending on how you want them to look. That I've got a pen, so I can write a lot neater with the pen. But you don't have to do stuff like that. You can use your text box. You can put stuff in there, or you can use an equation. Like for this one, we had 3/7. Well, shoot, that doesn't line up exactly the way I wanted it to in there. I wish it would have. Oh well. So I'm going to go equation. Now, for the equation, all I have to do is type, if I type 3-7 in equation, that'll change it to 3/7. Watch this. So I'm going to come over here. I just type 3/ whoops, it's not going in there. 3/7, and I've got it. I can use this little here to move it around a little bit, to line it up a little bit. You know, that's a little bigger than I want, so I'm going to come down here, whoops, and I'm going to make it a little smaller. I don't know why that keeps going off there. 20, make it a little smaller. I can click on behind that, say I don't want this down here, so I'm just clicking behind it, and I can put my A in there. I have to change my keyboard here. And I got it. And I could do a comma. And then I'm going to do another 3/7. Right arrow takes me right behind that. And B, you know, that's a little bit big, so let's try reducing it down a little bit. Okay, that's not doing the whole thing. Let me select it and try reducing it down. That makes a little smaller size. I can move it back to where I want it to line up a little bit better there. It looks like that. I can change colors on this. And the color things change from spot to spot in here. How you change colors on different things isn't always the same. You can pre-select over here, and I'll show this in a minute. Out of time here, so let's go with our equation. So I'm going to go equation, insert symbols. I'm going to come down here for this. Oops, you know what? I got to select a box up here. So now I'm going to come down here and select square root of x. You can see it puts it in there. I got my purple selected. Now I can go inside of that and I can start typing what I want in there. I can get my parentheses. 3 minus a negative 2. There's not a different negative. You got to use the minus sign. Close the parentheses. I want an exponent. This is my exponent. I click on that. You can see how it moved up. Square. I just go behind that to get out of it. There's plus. And I can put my second one in there. Negative 5 minus 7. Close the parentheses. Go for my exponent. Square it. And I've got my equation in there. I've shown my work. And I can do that again to show the simplify. If I want to reduce the size, I selected it all. I can reduce the size of it a little bit. Again, I can use this arrow to move it around to line it up because it didn't go exactly where I wanted the first time. I'm out of time for showing the drawing. I might do a second video on that. I don't have time to do it right now. Use some of these drawings, shapes down here. Good luck, kids. Sorry to cut it short.